Wind up, Jason! Your work isn't finished!
This is a one-time gig. When it's done, we're done.
Let's dance, asshole!
So today I wanted to make a video celebrating the 30th anniversary of Real Monsters, because this has been a series that I've been wanting to cover on my channel for quite some time, but I was figuring out exactly when the perfect time would be for me to talk about this series, and what a perfect time to talk about it now, considering that today is the 30th anniversary of this series. And it's just pretty crazy to think that it has been 30 years since this show came out. Keep in mind, I was not around when this show originally aired. I actually got back to it a little bit later in my life, so I had the opportunity to watch it. So I just want to take the time today to just talk about Real Monsters, talk about a lot of different topics that really stand out to me when it comes to this series as a whole. So if you guys have any thoughts on Real Monsters that you want to share with me, like when it comes to specific things you want to say about the series, or any memory that you guys want to share with me when it comes to this series as well, as always, like I always say, be sure to let me know in the comments section down below. So when it comes to Real Monsters, it introduced a raw and gritty art style that felt distinctively suited to its eerie underground theme, because the animation leaned into grotesque yet whimsical character designs that were simultaneously unsettling and endearing, because Ickis, Obelina, and Crumb each had exaggerated features that made them instantly recognizable and visually distinct. Ickis with his oversized ears, Obelina with her candy cane-like figure, and Crumb with his eyeballs held in his hands. And the show's use of dark tones, unusual textures, and shadowy backgrounds enhanced the sense of a grimy underground world these monsters called home. And rather than following the clean, polished look typical of animated series around its time, Real Monsters embraced an imperfect, sketchy style that added to its atmosphere. And Nickelodeon was already known for embracing quirky, offbeat designs, but this show took it even further, giving the visuals an edge that helped it stand apart. And the combination of rough lines and layered textures wasn't just for style, it created an immersive world that looked like a cross between a cartoon and a horror comic. And the art style was a huge draw, capturing viewers' attention and giving the show a bold identity. Instead of shying away from ugly or creepy imagery, the animation leaned into it, reinforcing the idea that it was a world ruled by monsters with their own strange standards of beauty. And from the Monster Academy to the garbage-laden underground, the show used its visuals to bring a creepy yet comforting aesthetic that invited viewers to see the world through the monster's eyes. And decades later, the show's distinct visuals remain iconic, inspiring fan art and nostalgia for the gritty, unfiltered look of 90s animation. And this unique art style made Real Monsters a symbol of creative freedom at a time when animation was often safe and predictable, proving that even in children's television, there was room for darker, more eccentric, artistic expressions. And Real Monsters was unafraid to dive into dark humor and mature themes, striking a balance that resonated with kids while still pushing boundaries. Because Ickis often struggled with self-confidence, fearing he'd never live up to his family scare legacy, while Obelina dealt with perfectionism and Crumb grappled with insecurities about his appearance. And each character had relatable challenges that were presented with humor, making the show feel layered and real. And the dark humor kept these themes accessible and lighthearted, because episodes often revolved around scare assignments where the monsters would face the fear of failure and situations that paralleled common childhood pressures. When Ickis panics about flunking a scare test, it feels much like a kid stressing over grades. And this approach softened the heavier themes, letting kids laugh while relating to the monster's insecurities without feeling too heavy or intense. And horror elements in the show were presented with irony, poking fun at monster stereotypes rather than relying on actual fear. Monsters didn't just run around scaring people, they went to an academy where they learned how to be proper monsters, following a structured curriculum and facing evaluations from the grumble. And by approaching horror and humor, Real Monsters redefined what a kid's show should be, showing that even scary things could be funny and accessible. And this clever mix of humor and horror gave the show a unique tone that is still appreciated by fans today. Its approach allowed children to laugh at the monster's experiences, showing that even creatures of the night had their own insecurities, adding a comforting layer that made scary concepts fun and relatable. And the core trio, Ickus, Obelina, and Crumb, made Real Monsters unforgettable. Each had their own personality quirks that created a dynamic and entertaining friendship. Ickus was the anxious underdog with big dreams of becoming a legendary scarer, even if his fears sometimes got in the way. And Obelina was a sophisticated top student, always striving to impress with her intelligence and sharpness, while Crumb, laid back and always scratching, brought comic relief with his laid back and gross out humor. And their friendship rounded the show, giving it a sense of heart and relatability. Ickus often leaned on his friends for support when he struggled with self-doubt. Obelina pushed them to perform at their best, and Crumb's humor lightened the mood when things got too intense. And the group's blend of personalities gave each episode an enjoyable rhythm, showcasing teamwork and acceptance of each other's quirks. And the Grumble added another layer to these dynamics. Although he was strict, he cared about his students' success, making him more than just an intimidating authority figure. His unique, demanding approach created tension and added stakes to the monster's assignments, while his guidance reminded them and viewers of the importance of discipline and resilience. And this dynamic cast of characters taught viewers about loyalty and facing fears together, illustrating that even the scariest situations could be overcome with friends by your side. And decades later, fans still remember these moments fondly, proving that humor, quirks, and camaraderie left a lasting mark. And Real Monsters also built a fascinating monster society with traditions, rules, and rituals that were both funny and believable. Because the Monster Academy, where Ickus, Obelina, and Crumb were trained, was at the center of this world, giving monsters a place to learn and refine their scaring abilities. The Academy's strict standards and exams made it clear that the monster world was complex and organized, with a structured approach to monstering. And throughout the series, viewers were introduced to unique aspects of Monster Society, like the Great Wave of Garbage, which monsters revered as an almost sacred event, and scare assignments functioned like homework, allowing young monsters to test their skills on unsuspecting humans. And the show's attention to these details created a believable monster society that was humorous, showing that the world of monsters had its own values and traditions. And this perspective on everyday human objects was one of the show's most imaginative elements. What we see as trash like socks, bottle caps, and empty cans were valuable treasures to monsters, creating clever visual jokes and adding to the sense of the distinctive culture. And this world building turned the monster realm into a place as dynamic and lived in as the human world, drawing viewers into the strange yet relatable universe of Real Monsters. And this show's rich monster mythology made it feel as immersive as it was quirky by creating a fully realized monster society. And the series didn't just entertain, it invited viewers to think about perspective, culture, and the humor and life's quirks, adding depth that went far beyond a typical kids cartoon. And for many 90s kids, Real Monsters was part of the revolutionary era in animation, where networks allowed creators to explore edgy, unique ideas. It was a time when Nickelodeon stood out for its bold, boundary-pushing shows, and Real Monsters was no exception. It offered something different, an eerie, funny, and slightly creepy show that appealed to kids ready for something beyond typical cartoons. And this era of Nickelodeon, alongside shows like Ren and Stimpy and Rocko's Modern Life, became a shared nostalgic point for 90s kids who valued how these cartoons weren't afraid to get weird. And Real Monsters gave kids a unique blend of humor and horror, making them feel like they were in on something special. It encouraged creativity and a love for the strange, standing out as a show that treated its audience as more mature than traditional cartoons did. And today, fans of Real Monsters look back fondly on it as a unique part of their childhood, with many even introducing it to their own kids. And the show's ability to entertain while offering a touch of horror and humor left a lasting impression, reminding 90s kids of a time when cartoons dared to be different. And the 30th anniversary of Real Monsters is more than just this milestone, it's a testament to its enduring appeal and the special place it holds in the heart of the fans. It's a show that reminds us of the creativity of the 90s and the power of storytelling that doesn't shy away from the odd and unsettling. And the influence of Real Monsters can be seen in shows that followed, especially those blending humor with darker or surreal elements. Its legacy lives on in series like Courage, which continued exploring horror through a humorous lens, and even in more modern adult cartoons like Rick and Morty, where quirky visuals and dark humor tell deeper stories. Real Monsters showed that animated series could mix strange visuals with humor, paving the way for future creators to push animation boundaries. Its character-driven storytelling also left a mark on the industry. Ickis, Opalina, and Crumb each had insecurities, strengths, and complex personalities that resonated with viewers and set a standard for more nuanced characters. And this approach encouraged creators to make animated characters with depth and imperfections, adding emotional layers that became a hallmark in later series. And looking back, Real Monsters' legacy extends to the nostalgia and love it still inspires today. As 90s kids grew up, they carried memories of this show, leading to fan art, calls for reboots, and celebrations of its quirky spirit. The show remains a beloved cultural touchstone, representing a time when animation explored new ideas with creativity and humor. And on its 30th anniversary, Real Monsters is celebrated as a groundbreaking series that dared to mix humor with horror and challenge norms in children's animation. Its lasting influence reminds us that creativity thrives when we embrace the strange, showing the enduring appeal of stories that march to the beat of their own drum. And Real Monsters remains one of those rare shows that truly sticks with you, not just because of its quirky characters and dark humor, but because of its bold creativity and willingness to be different. And celebrating its 30th anniversary today feels special. It's like revisiting an old friend who has always been a little weird, but totally unforgettable. And this show wasn't afraid to explore what other cartoons wouldn't touch, blending humor, horror, and a touch of gross out in a way that somehow still felt relatable. Looking back now, it's clear just how ahead of its time Real Monsters was and how it shaped a generation of viewers and creators alike. It's a reminder of a time when animation dared to be unique, and I think that's why we're all here still talking about it 3 decades later. So overall, that is all I have to say about Real Monsters in this video. I just wanted to take the time today to celebrate the 30th anniversary because this definitely is a huge milestone for this series. And I thought it was only right to talk about what made Real Monsters so special today within this video. So if you guys have any thoughts of your own, like I mentioned earlier in the beginning of the video, that you want to share with me when it comes to Real Monsters, like if you guys want to just sit down and tell me what you personally loved about this series that really made it stand out, or just a personal memory overall, be sure to let me know down below, because like I tell you guys all the time, I absolutely love starting conversations with you guys in the comments. And if you guys enjoyed this video, as always, be sure to like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. If you want to follow your boy on social media, be sure to check out my Facebook page, my Instagram, my TikTok, and my Twitter. All of that is located in the description below. Be sure to click on that bell for notifications so you guys are notified whenever I drop a video on the channel. But other than that, I hope all of you guys are having a fantastic day, wherever the day may be, if it's the daytime, the nighttime, or the evening. And I'll see you guys in the next video. As always, peace out.